Welcome to the channel. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. In front of you, you can see two stunning, drop dead gorgeous purple dials. And these dials are in the IX&DAO Titanium 39mm diver, known as the X02T. Now, I unboxed the black DLC coated one not too long ago, a few weeks ago in the mega unboxing. And in the unboxing, I did struggle to find this watch on AliExpress. That's because it's not available on AliExpress. It's available on their website, which is ix&dawtitanium.com. I'll obviously put that up in the description. Now, shortly after unboxing, I received a purple dial X02T in the raw titanium version, and I thought that's perfect. Now I can compare both watches side to side, so you can decide on the one that you like. Now I have to say, admittedly, it's a tough choice because that purple dial is gorgeous on both watches, and this is going to be really just a taste in personal preference, but I'm going to show you the differences in the cases and if there's any differences on any other features. Now, in terms of specifications, dimensions, I will put them up on screen. Main thing, your standard sapphire, but the things which are quite different or you might not expect, one thing is that you've only got a 60-click bezel on this one. I don't know why they've done that. It does baffle me. Maybe it's to make the rotation a bit easier or better, because titanium bezels can be a bit difficult, right, to get right, and the consistency isn't always there. But like, even with this 60-click, it is a little loose, it's a little jumpy. It does line up, but you can see just that slight bit of back play. Now, for the price they're asking, which is £220 on their website. Now, when I unboxed this, the price I was seeing was $276 for one, very similar to this, which is a lot of money. But on their website, £220 with the PT5000. They also have options with the SW200 and, of course, an ETA 2824 if you really want to go that far end. But yeah, that bezel, I think, needs to be a lot better. They should have tried 120 click and just tried to basically, perfect it. And it is consistent across, both bezels. I don't think either one is that much better. There still is a slight bit of movement in the bezel on the raw titanium version. These two models are with the PT5000, and I mentioned before that IX&DAO, they actually modified these PTs, and I think they may just remove the date disc, because when you do pull the crown out, it will go straight to position 1 or the final position, but when you do click it in, you can feel two distinct clicks. Now, occasionally you can, if you try really hard, get it to position 1 and the crown will spin either way, but you won't hear a date click. So they have modified this movement because it is a dateless design, and they've tried to, well, they haven't eliminated the ghost position, but you don't have a date disc, which means there's no risk of damaging the date mechanism because you're not trying to set the date. Now, there is one thing on the dimensions. This does have the awkward 21mm lug width, which, again, an odd number. So 19 is odd as well, but there's a lot more 19mm straps. 21mm, there's not going to be that much choices, as much as obviously the others. However, the bracelet on these watches means, more than likely you're going to wear them on a bracelet. But these watches do actually fit really well on a decent rubber strap too. So let's spend a bit of time on that lovely dial, and you can see it's a Lume Sunray purple dial, and that is a perfect combination, right? The Sunray, if you don't have any Lume on there, it can be quite bright, but with that sort of Lume look, it changes between a black and then you get hues of that purple obviously shining through, as you can see. And exactly how you see it on camera is what you'll see in front of your eyes. It's a really stunning dial. I like the subtlety of it as well, and at the same time the vibrancy of that purple dial. It's quite difficult to make a purple dial look really good, and this purple doesn't look feminine at all. There is quite a masculine sort of look to it, and I think that is down to the Lume grading more than anything. So the dial looks, I'd say, equally good in both the DLC coated and the raw titanium, and it is just a matter of preference. Do you like that stealth look with that purple dial standing out, or the muted steel look, which is obviously titanium? It's just slightly duller than stainless steel, but you do have let's say, a few more features present on the raw titanium case. So let's take a look at that first. So the first thing you are going to be able to make out on the raw titanium case is obviously, the bevels that you see on the case, on the edges of those lugs. You'll also be able to see some very fine grain on the brushing. You do have a bit of circular brushing on those lugs along the A face, and then you've got your horizontal brushing along the sides of the watch. You do get a bit more definition on the case. I guess it looks a little more interesting when you can see like the grain of the brushing on the titanium, and again, the little subtle features that you can make out on the case. It really helps with the case definition. Now on the bracelet, I think this one that was sent in is a used watch, so I think somebody's had a go at this themselves. Because I have seen these watches before, and this is not the brushing you get from IX&DAO. They use machine brushing, and this one you can see someone's actually tried to clean it up a bit. So yeah, I don't know what's up with that, but yeah, usually you will see quite a consistent grain. Now, in comparison to the DLC coated one, you're not going to see a lot of definition on the case, not a lot of grain, because yes, it is black. So for the most part, even on wrist, you're not going to be able to see the finer details. Now there is a very slight grain present on the lugs, and look how difficult that is to see in a studio with lights. So you can just see that subtle grain. You can also make out that bevel along the side of the case, and just some brushing. But on the bracelet, away from direct light, it looks perfectly smooth. But if we get some light on there, you can see that grain that I was talking about, that consistent, smooth, linear brushing. So it again is very subtle. On wrist, for the most part, you're not going to see anything of definition on the case. Now both, if you notice, they do have a pretty good end-link fit and finish, no uneven gaps, and pretty good QC as well. And the thing with DLC, I believe it is better than PVD. So DLC is diamond-like coating. So the watch, you can see, is fully covered, and it's going to be more hard wearing than PVD. How hard wearing, I don't know. I'm not going to scratch this up to see if I can get this black coating off, but you don't really hear about DLC coated watches getting battered quite a lot, or the color fading and stuff like that. So I think DLC, if you wanted to go for a darker watch or a colored metal, then DLC is definitely the way forward. Now, further features of the watch: on the bracelet, you do have screw-in pins. Nicely done. Obviously makes link removals quite easy. Now the clasp they've gone for, it's a branded clasp with brushing. As I thought so. You can see that someone's tried to take the branding off. So yeah, this watch has been messed with quite a bit. But yeah, you have the branding on there. It's a twin pusher clasp. It's quite short as well, only 3 micro adjustments. It's a tough one, right? Because for the price, you could argue, on the fly adjustable clasp. However, as a sports diver, proportionate is quite good as well. It's on the short side. So if they were to use it on the fly adjustable clasp, it'd have to be a mid-size one, not those super long ones, which basically consume half the watch. So definitely there is room for slightly higher specs, and as I mentioned about the bezel rotation, I'm not too happy with that. Now, one thing they do quite well, and this was present on their the Pelagos homage that they did, and pretty much all the other brands that did, is that outward sunray brushing on that ceramic bezel insert. Not everyone's a fan of those shiny ceramic bezel inserts, but this feature here, the finishing that you find on this bezel insert, that outward sunray, it is a really nice type of finishing. Light play is brilliant, and obviously it matches so well with that sunray pattern on the dial. They both complement each other quite well. And of course you have the same on the DLC one. Now, while I said the watch is quite muted, this bezel here is gonna definitely add that bit of interest. The rest of the finishing is muted, as you can see. That bezel is gonna stand out a bit more. Then it's obviously something for you guys to decide which one is it that you prefer. Personally, I think the raw titanium one is the one for me, because I do like to see the brushing, the definition on cases. I like to see that bevel stand out. Also, the crown guards are particularly nice on this. So yeah, it's something which is going to stand out, and you're going to be able to see the grain on wrist. So I will prefer that over the DLC one. But the DLC one does have a cool factor. There's no denying it. That purple against that black case background does match. Now, let's come back to the dial. Stunning dial. I&&DAO do make some incredible dials. They must have a really good supplier, but not only that, they're willing to put the money there. So with this one, of course you get those massive 3D Lume blocks, all BGW9, very crisp printing on that dial as well, and the logo that they went with. Now, they didn't fight too much about the logo. I think pretty quick from when they first came out, they did go with the logo because they understood the name, number one, it's not that easy to say, and a logo just makes it a little more universal. So yeah, absolutely brilliant on there. So in terms of the Lume, obviously, yeah, the Lume's going to be brilliant. I think the good thing about this is that it's quite evenly matched. So you've got plenty of Lume on the handset as well as those hour markers on the dials, which are absolutely massive. So you get quite a bright but even glow on this dial. And if you haven't seen this on wrist, this is what it's going to look like. 39mm across, which is perfect for a diver. Obviously, it's very lightweight, being full titanium. But yeah, the black, you can see, it doesn't really show much. The only things which are really catching is that bezel inset and that lovely dial. But it gives you that stealth look. And it's going to stand out in your collection. It's definitely going to be a talking piece too, because it is going to be one which, you know, visually it's definitely going to pop, and you might find yourself drawn to it more than others. But as I said, I much prefer the raw titanium. I like to see some silver, I like to see some grain, but yeah, dimensions, can't fault to them. Perfect fit for my 6.5-inch wrist. A bit smaller, I don't know. The links are female end links, so potentially it could go down to 6 inches. A wrist size off that you can wear this on comfortably, but obviously it'll go up to bigger wrist sizes as well. And I don't think it's too small too. You know, if you've got a bigger wrist, this will not look small on your wrist. It may feel it because it's titanium, but other than that, I think, yeah, this one would be the one that I want to go for. So let me know in the comments section below, which one is it that you'd prefer? I just want to gauge how many people like the DLC watches, and then how many people prefer the raw titanium. So at $220 with a PT5000, it's expensive, I'll be honest. Definitely needs to improve on that bezel. Need to give, I think, 120 click bezel, or actually work on making this very precise and actually quite nice to turn. And yeah, maybe look at the idea of, you know, maybe an on-the-fly adjustable clasp. But as it stands, the one thing good about this is that that purple dial matched with the case, it's a killer look. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.